It's for a pet supplies shop, so it's gotta be fun, playful, and fresh. Then, help Wix logo maker understand your style. Choose where you'll use it. Here we go. Wow, so many great options. Let's go with this one. Here is where you can customize the logo, like changing the icon and the font. You can also print the new logo on t-shirts, business cards, even mugs. It's gonna look perfect on your Wix site. Go to Wix.com Logo Maker and create your professional logo today.
Rengoku's second move was pretty bad because it never had a definitive hitbox. Sometimes the move hit at this damage count. So it's an auto dodge. It's a counter auto dodge that will always hit at 40k. So each beam is gonna hit like that. It's gonna boom, boom, boom. Always 40k. We're gonna watch that again to make sure it's always definitive. So it's really good.
said I see you see flames.
It's all crazy, Tsukuyomi, about to put him on a sleeve, ayy.
Tryna stop me, pull a kamikaze, go against the coming, you gon' leave Steve.
Yeah, I've been a minute, even on the sideline. It was I with the vision, pick a side, not mine. You can die with the village, I'm on a mission. Even if I be the villain, I've been considering something that can palm on the village. I'm with the rah-rah, put a rounds in the center, hit him with a high when the eyes get slimmer. No surprise who the winner, when moderate, and like, wait, I'll be the GOAT. It's all crazy, Tsukuyomi.
What if I threw a Senko Kune at that moon? What if I threw a Senko Kune at the moon? What? What if I threw a Senko Kune at the moon? What if I threw a Senko Kune at the moon? What if I threw a Senko Kune at the moon? What if I threw a Senko Kune at the moon? What if I just... What if I... What if I... What if I... What if I... Oh wait, I can't breathe on the moon. Oh my gosh, this is so awesome. Of course it wouldn't work. What if I... What if I... Of course it wouldn't work. What if I... Oh wait, I can't breathe on the moon, oh my... What if I... Of course it wouldn't work. Wouldn't work. Oh my gosh, this is so awesome. Oh wait, I can't breathe on the moon.
I have a challenge for all of you. Go to every computer in your house, your mom's, your dad's, your sister, your brother's computer. The guy who leaves this circle. I will personally do their mother. But not only that, the last person who stays in the circle. The guy who leaves this circle. I will personally do their mother. But not only that, the last person who stays in the circle will get a cash prize. But what you don't know is that we can kill his family and replace them with anyone who are also going to surprise him with a brand new wheelchair. That is because we're breaking his secrets. The winner also received a brand new house. But the catch is, if they leave the house, they will be executed on national television in front of everybody. This video is also sponsored by this gun. I'm going to kill everybody. The person who survives will win $1 million.
Adolf Hitler stands on a podium to great applause. His chaotic mind is racing as the crowd screams out Heil Hitler. A crowd made up of not just Germans but various nationalities that have fallen under his evil spell. The superpower of Germany is untouchable. There's no such thing as the Soviet Union anymore. The great of Great Britain is lying in the mud. Millions are being executed while millions more are enslaved in Hitler's labor camps. There's just one more thing to accomplish, and that's annihilating the USA. To subdue what Hitler regards as a low-down, dirty race of mongrels. He has won, and it's hell on earth for many. We'll get around to this standoff with the USA, but first we need to know how Hitler pulled it off, this unbelievable victory in Europe. Here we mix reality with fiction. As you know, at the start of the Second World War in 1939, Hitler's army, the Wehrmacht, devastated Poland. With its legion of panzer tanks and an incredibly efficient mobile infantry, the Poles were no match for the Germans. The attack was like lightning, which is what the word blitzkrieg was derived from. In September, German bombs were dropped on the town of Luck, not just destroying buildings, but even killing kids on their way to school. This sent a message of what was to come. The Polish pilot B.J. Solak noted, "The stench of burning and a brown veil of smoke filled the air all around our town. No one was spared." The German Air Force, the Luftwaffe, rained hellfire down on Poland. Trains were seen derailed from the tracks. Kids screamed at the sight of the dead. It was a terror no one could have expected. And so on September 3rd, Britain and France declared war on Germany. Amazingly, France was beaten in just 6 weeks, and in time, something worrying occurred. Surprisingly, most of the French accepted the new Vichy government, one sympathetic to Nazi ideology. Not many know that a large number of people in France endorsed Hitler's hatred toward the Jews. Bear this in mind as we go through this story today. But by that time, Denmark, Norway, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg had already been beaten by the Germans. It was as if the German soldiers were on steroids, which isn't far from the truth in the view of their heavy use of powerful methamphetamine, Pervitin. And with Norway defeated, Hitler now had access to heavy water. Although not known at the time, this is a key ingredient in the creation of the nuclear bomb. This was bad news. When France fell and the British were left scurrying for their lives on the escape from Dunkirk, it looked as though the Germans were totally invincible. These conquests so far meant tens of thousands of Germans killed and many more injured. France itself had lost 50,000 men in the invasion, Britain lost 11,000, but now Germany had a massive 1.5 million prisoners of war. It would have been much worse had the Brits not had their
Meet WordTune Read. It doesn't matter which text you're dealing with. If it's long, WordTune
their miracle at Dunkirk. Britain was at this point waiting for the Battle of Britain. It was a frightening thing to imagine. Not many people thought this small island nation could hold its own, but the fighting spirit still burned within Britain. As a wounded British soldier named Paul Ritchie said when he was flown back to England from France, he couldn't imagine his country going the same way France had. In his own words, he said, "With my mind still filled with the blast and flame that had shattered France, I was seized with utter disgust at the smug contentedness enjoyed behind the sea barrier. Still, he worried about what was around the corner." On June 18, 1940, Winston Churchill spoke at the House of Commons. In his impeccable oratory style, he said, "I expect the Battle of Britain is about to begin. Upon this battle depends the survival of Christian civilization. Upon it depends our own British life." He was probably right. Churchill went on, "Hitler knows he will have to break us in this island or lose the war. If we fail, then the whole world, including the United States, will sink into the abyss of a new dark age." He said that upon the defeat of Germany, men will say that this was their finest hour. And take note, he said Hitler would go after the USA. It was just a matter of time. According to this cigar-munching elitist who admittedly was drunk and drugged up half the time, still, he correctly envisioned the hell that Hitler would unleash. That's why Churchill was so against settling with Hitler. He was sure that at some point the furious Führer would have Britain in shackles and take over his empire. Hitler would not stop, not until Nazi ideology pervaded the globe. The Battle of Britain commenced. In the skies, British Hawker Hurricanes and Spitfires fought it out with German Messerschmitt Bf 109s. The so-called dogfights were crazy, and many young pilots who went up did not come back down. Alive, anyway. Here's how one Spitfire pilot described a day at work. "We were both flying in a tight circle, just a little more and I'll have him. Pressing the trigger, I waited expectantly for the 109 to explode. I've hit his wing. He was one of the lucky ones. Life expectancy for an RAF pilot during the war was a grim thing indeed. 60% of operational airmen died, were injured, or became prisoners of war. Around 51% of all RAF aircrew died. Bombs from German Junkers rained down on strategic locations in England, with sirens blaring on a regular basis during what the Brits called the Blitz. It went on for 8 months, but the British down below were typically amenable to hardships. One woman wrote in her diary, "I wonder what the pilots feel. After all, somebody loves them even if they're Nazis." At some point, Hitler made the mistake of withdrawing aircraft for Russia's planned invasion in May 1941. That really was a mistake. It turned out the Germans lacked a cogent strategic plan. The planes also often missed their targets, and British scientists were good at reading German signals and jamming the radars. The British public showed fortitude too. A woman named Barbara Dixon wrote that she'd never even heard of Poland, but she'd do anything to repel the beast of Hitler, who she said was trying to blow us up or murder us in our beds. Historians say attacking Britain was one of the great blunders Germany made in the war, with the next one being the invasion of the Soviet Union. Had Hitler focused all his strength on Britain and not at one point said, "Okay, we'll come back for you later," the Brits might have settled with Germany. Many people in Britain wanted that. They didn't think Hitler was as crazy as he turned out to be. Hitler had many times expressed his liking for British culture, and he said, unlike those mongrels in America, Britain had a good Aryan culture. Prior to German propagandists criticizing the British for their empire's atrocities and their plutocrats living like kings while the working class lived in the slums, Hitler had some pretty good relations with certain British politicians. Britain's army was nothing compared to the German army, and no one really expected them to hold their own in the skies. Even the U.S. ambassador in London, Joseph Kennedy, said Britain had no chance. Despite 23,000 civilians dying and around 33,000 injured, with the German retreat, confidence was bolstered. It's not 1,000 RAF planes were shot down, with about 544 fighter commanders, 4,200 planes, and more than 2,500 pilots were killed. Across the pond, an American journalist wrote, Adolf Hitler met his first defeat in 8 years, in what might go down in history as a battle as important as Waterloo or Gettysburg. Winston Churchill uttered those now famous words, "Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few." This bolstered confidence in the U.S.